Hello everyone and welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are talking about Disneyland's best lines. And now, before we start the actual list, we need to talk about what makes a good line. One of the key things I think makes a good line is it's like the land itself is supposed to make its own theme, but it does not fill out the thing for the ride, if you know what I'm saying. The theming of the line has to start and get you ready for the story of the ride. Like in Tower of Terror. Okay, I'm just saying Tower of Terror because it's not on this list, because it is only Disneyland. Tower of Terror gets you ready by going through a hotel lobby. It's kind of grim. You can see everything's cobwebs and all of that. Gets you ready, and then the pre-show is kind of the finale, I'd say, of a lot of these queues. Or sometimes just a helpful addition. They might not be at the end. So let's get started. Number 10. Number 10 is Splash Mountain. Splash Mountain, I put at number 10 because it has a good theming, and it kind of creates its own theme for the whole ride. And it has all of the pictures of the different animals. It has, just makes you feel like you are in the post-Civil War era, and it just gets you right, even though the ride itself does not really take place in that era, but the architecture of everything, it's very, not as filled out and everything, so it just gets you ready for all that. And it's just mostly an ambiance thing. It also is just great. So that is why Splash Mountain is on my number 10. Number 9. This is actually this is one of the newer ones on this list. Number 9 is Smugglers Run inside of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So this queue, it just makes you feel like you're with the pre-show at the beginning, which is kind of an introduction to the queue in this case. It kind of helps you, and it shows you as you go through the queue, and especially in the waiting area before you get into your area. And then you have the little areas when you're actually in the Millennium Falcon, you can sit next to the table on the couch and all the things. So it is actually very nice. So that is why Smugglers Run is number 9. Also, many people may have had this one placed higher on their list, and it's just a basic queue in my opinion. But anyway, next is Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, number 8. It's Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. This is actually, spoiler alert, this is the only one I chose to add from California Adventure. I was gonna put Soarin' and Rare Springs on this list, and I decided to put other ones in that place. But sorry if those are some of your favorites. But anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. It has a lot of just stuff, and you can see Figment in the cage. Okay, that's more of just a super fan thing, but it feels like you're in actually the Collector's Fortress. And it feels like you're going through the Tavon collection, and it's just really cool. You can see the Yeti. Okay, I don't just like it because of all the Disneyland Easter eggs. Okay, that's definitely not why. Okay, anyway, that is why I like Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. Let's move on to number 7. Number 7 is Space Mountain. Okay, right now, this is a little of the music from the attraction. I love this part that you can hear in the background right now. It's so great. And it's also not just that you go through, you can see the different, there's the TVs telling you to get ready for your spaceport launch. They also added the extended queue, which is where the Starcade used to be. And it has the huge, space telescope, which is adding to more of the realism of Space Mountain. Then when you get inside to the loading zone, you actually have that huge ship above, and the TV, the huge screen in there that's showing your route. And anyway, this is one of the best queues. So, let's move on to number 6. Number 6 is the Jungle Cruise, which recently had a refurbishment and just had a soft opening. But I have not seen the new version. Okay, that's kind of irrelevant. But in the queue is great because you can hear, they have a radio station playing in there that has like old times, and you can also hear like warnings off of Eastern Africa, and it's just great as you go through it, and all in all, it's just really good. Let's move on to number 5. Okay, many people might not consider this a line because it's more of just a waiting area, but number 5 is Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. Now, this is a combination of a pre-show and line in my, because this is where you're waiting, but it's also a pre-show that you can hear and you can see Pele, all the different Rongo, Tongaroa, Tongaroo, Bernagendi, all the different Tiki gods, and then there's also a TV telling you about the history of Dole and stuff, and then you can go get a Dole Whip. It's just so good, and it's just great, and I love the atmosphere. Okay, we're moving on to the next one, number 4. Okay, number 4 is Pirates of the Caribbean, and now, same thing as Space Mountain, listen to this music. It's great, but that's not the only reason. You also go through this like fortress, the Spaniard kind of fort. You go through and you get in the inside, which has the smell. It's so good. And you go through, you see like the portraits of Captain Jack Sparrow. You can see the actual boats. You can see the Blue Bayou restaurant. You can see the Barker parrot next to the flag. It's just all so great. This one creates such an ambiance and has so many details that you can look for. Number 3. Okay, this is many people might put this as a number 1. One thing that is good lines have is you're not able to see the difference. It's a debatable difference from the line to the ride. Now, this is the case for Rise of the Resistance. Now, this is a great ride. I love the queue. You go through and you go through the control room and all of these things, and you get captured and you're put in prison, you get interrogated, then you leave and get on the ride. It is such a good queue, and even before that, you're in like a resistance base and all those things. You go on the ship that is like a Star Tours type thing, but there's no buckles. It's so cool, and then it's just all great. Let's move on to number 2. Number 2 is Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is, I feel, one of the most just best overall rides in immersion. You go through this huge fortress that you like. They do so much winding that you actually go outside the park border, and you don't even notice it. You go through. There's all the things you can do. You also have a pre-show in there. It just like you have like the bat guano. It's also like you just go through and the immersion's great. You have all the traps with the skulls on the things. And anyway, this is my number 2. Okay, let's move on to honorable mentions. Honorable mentions I'm going to put for... Okay, I just want to say I have not been to Avengers Campus, so other than Mission Breakout. I have not been to the new Web Slingers attraction and all those things yet. But anyway, some honorable mentions were Soarin', Radiator Springs, and Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Anyway, let's move on to number 1. I think most people expected it. This is also one of my favorite attractions, and it also has a very similar thing as Rise of the Resistance, where it's debatable to tell when the ride starts. And number 1 is Haunted Mansion. You can go through the stretching room, you go through the portrait hallway, and then you get on the attraction. The portraits, and they just added a new portrait, and it's also great, and it's just great, and it's debatable if it starts in the portrait hallway, if it starts the loading place, or if the attraction starts in the stretching room. And even before that, you have the graveyard. It's just great. And you can go through and you go into this Victorian manor. It's all so great. And anyway, thank you guys for watching. That is why Haunted Mansion is my #1. If you enjoyed the video, I would very much like it if you press that subscribe button, because only a small percentage of people watch them or my videos are actually subscribed. And so if you enjoyed, would consider subscribe and a like so I can get views. And anyway, thank you for watching, and bye.